Well, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Writer's Block powered by Creative Corner Co. I'm your host, Noah Black, and man, today the guests we have on are some friends of mine. They're like just down the road in Stanley County. But man, they're just three individuals. I know that they're just driven to create music that just connects with others in such a powerful way. They're passionate about their faith and how both of those things can be intertwined and just connecting those two things together. And so it's my friends Greg, Jacob, and Dalton from Return to Sender. So we're going to welcome them to the podcast.
What's poppin'?
What's up?
We don't clap for ourselves.
We do. I do. I clap for myself in this. Yes.
Go me. I'm doing good.
Well, what's up, guys? You guys doing good? It's been a hot minute since we've gotten to hang out and do stuff. But man, you've got a lot going on. What's been going on?
I was like, the last time we saw Noah like on Return to Sender ground, I think was when I came and played the drums for your old band, like 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Pre-COVID, so maybe 3 years ago now.
That was like 4.
No.
And this is 2023.
No.
That was a while ago.
Well, it might have been Statesville.
Yeah, no, it was the same place. I just came after that show.
Yeah. Because I think I want to say that my last show with ETF would have been, it was like right there around my birthday. So it would have been like June of 2019.
That sounds correct.
Yeah.
That was 4 years ago.
Oh my Lord.
We're getting old.
4 years
It's
ago.
been 4 years.
That's crazy.
You designed our logo.
You don't even know we have that tattooed on us.
Wow.
do you?
Oh, yeah. Did you
Oh,
know that?
wow. That's crazy. That's dope.
Wait.
Wait.
You guys are first, as far as I know, of somebody getting something I designed on their body. So that's pretty dope.
We rep our boys.
Times 3.
You know, we go personally, we go a while back, right? But for a lot of people that don't know, you know, all the interactions that we've had or may know a little bit about you guys on just kind of the social media spectrum or whatever that have connected through music or whatever, just to dive deeper into Return to Sender, right? How you guys came together, how you guys brought this together that you guys have brought, you know, how does that formed and kind of where did all that begin?
So it was about 7 years ago.
More than that, probably.
I can't remember at this point, man. It's just been a hot minute. I was praying, asking God. I was kind of like, you know, I get I'm a little bit younger, but I want to know what you've called me to. I know I get one shot at life. I kind of don't want to waste it. And I kept just hearing this thing, Return to Sender, and always had a passion for music. My grandparents played instruments. My mom and dad attempt to sing. And
Fail.
I started saying, skip a generation. I love you, mom and dad, but always being around music. My mom and dad listened to several genres of music, and so like music's always been that very passionate about from a very young age. And Return to Sender slowly turned into this band where I'm like, I want to do music. So I knew who I wanted to do music with. One being my brother, obviously growing up in the same household, and then him coming along because we've known each other our whole lives. But
I've known you a while.
I started to say, but like, and then me and Dalton, 12 years,
It's longer than
13
that.
years,
It's
like
longer
so.
than that.
Yeah, the background that Dalton was one of my really good buddies. Well, actually, technically, Mom was your preschool teacher.
Yeah.
Our mom was Dalton's preschool teacher, and then we were friends in kindergarten, and then middle school and high school,
Yeah.
and now. So however long that is.
It goes back to at least 4 years. Like, since I was 4, of our family somehow being connected.
Yeah. So
Since I was 4. I'm 23 now. So
The thing is that passion for God with me was very much alive. It necessarily wasn't for these guys at the time.
Yeah.
So for 4 years, or three years, something like that, it's just praying constantly, like, God, I feel like I'm called to do music with these guys, but staying in that constant prayer until my brother decided to do a little change. I say little, it was very quickly how he chose to go after God in like days. It really threw me for a loop. And then we were sitting in the bedroom and we were just, I'll never forget it. We were sitting at the foot of the bed and I was like, listen, we've been in different bands at this point before. We've even played music together at one point, and we all of us in a band before this one. But I was just like, listen, I was like, God's called me to do music, and I want to do it with you. Condition though, the band's name has to be Return to Sender, because when I prayed all those years ago, that's the name I just kept getting for the ministry. I was like, and he was like, cool. And then he said, the name of the album will have to be As My Condition. I'm going to leave that redacted because we don't want to release anything. But that's how it became a duo all those years later. And then not really that much longer.
I immediately was like, hey, Dalton should be.
Yeah, we were like, Dalton plays guitar. We know he's good at it. Like, it was like not even long, maybe like a week and a half. He turns his life around right after Greg does. And then he comes along. And so fast forward, we've been a band for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then we're working on our 5th year.
Yes.
As a group, right? 2018?
Correct, among us.
Yeah. So it all just kind of started with God just kind of, I guess, like little small steps to us getting to where we are.
Yeah, that's sick too. And you mentioned with Greg having this big life transformation. I'm interested, Greg, just with like, I know you're open about you talking about your kind of your step in being like, you were proclaimed like, hey, I'm an atheist, like don't believe in God at one point in your life. And then just having this, big transformational moment. I'm sure for you too, like you guys grew up in a Christian household too. What was that experience like whenever you kind of had that moment where you're like, I don't even believe in God, to then that being transformed around?
Dude, so like at the time, like up until, it was 2018, so I was 18 years old, or maybe I was 17, about to be 18.
Sounds about right.
I was an atheist. I was doing a lot of drugs, basically anything I could get my hands on. Wasn't in the best relationship. Just like my whole life, man. Like I was a hurt kid from like having like some traumatic stuff happen in my past. And as to where, because it happened to me and Jacob, we just lost a lot of family members. Like right there, we lost 3 in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And as to where that like made Jacob like run to God, like I thought of it more as like, well, I've always been taught that God's in control, and God took them from me, and now I hate him. And
wow, yeah.
I just kind of lived my life that way, and it just kind of like snowballed to the point I'm 17, strung out on pills. I kind of hate my life. I definitely dealt with like that really dark kind of stuff. I was in a pretty bad relationship, and that relationship finally ended. And that was like the breaking point for me, to where I was like, if I don't get help, I'm going to hurt myself. Like, I was like, something bad is going to happen if I don't get some sort of help. And I remember going up to my mom, like, I'm not joking, like for real, just please pray for me. And she did. She just laid her hands on me, and she was like, "Oh, thank you so much for Greg," and like started like really leaning into it. And obviously, I can't see myself, but the way it's been told to me, like I used to have like really dark circles around my eyes. I still kind of do, but new dad life, I'm just tired. But like mom was like, the black circles around your eyes just left. Like you started speaking different, you started talking different. Because I used to be very like aggressive, like even in tone. I was just kind of an all around douchebag all the time. And it's like that immediately, like I was boom.
It just shifted. Yeah.
And like I saw the world differently. I saw my friends differently. I remember sitting down with Jacob at one point and like immediately apologizing. I was like, hey, for like the last like 5 years, I've been very mean to you. Sorry.
That's verbatim how it went, with the finger gun and everything.
Yeah. Like it's like someone, it was like, I've said it like this before, like it was like freaking like 50 pounds of like weight got lifted off me, but I've been carrying it so long, like I had kind of forgotten it was there, and then it came off.
Wow, yeah.
Lighter and lighter and amazing. And like right when that feeling happened, I was like, I'm addicted to whatever this is. And it was Jesus. And now I say that all the time.
Yeah. And it's super powerful, man. And that's, you guys obviously are very vocal about the fact of that you are Christians in your music. And I love that you talk about you want to create music. I know that you guys have put up like posts and stuff on social. If you want to make the solid, like really good sounding music that you heard, that you grew up on, and that you guys, were kind of raised on and learned from, but also making sure that it's rooted in that message of it's hope driven, it's fueled by Jesus and everything that you do. And, I think that's something so powerful that I think a lot of people need to see that. And I know for you guys, you can see it from the outside looking in, that you're you're striving hard to create stuff that's the level of excellence that you would hear on a radio station while it's still being driven in what you guys are rooted in. And so how have you found that in your journey so far of just being open and vocal about your faith and communicating it to people? How have you found that, the challenges that may have come from it, but just also the positivity that's come from you guys pursuing that?
You kind of have to back and look over the years that we've been a band, because Jacob said it, but like it actually hits us pretty hard when we think we've been a band for 5 years. And if you look at our track record of what we've completed and accomplished, honestly, it's not much. But to us, we've had so much internal growth that we've had to do over those years. Like me and Greg, so I was raised in church, and I believed, I was a fence rider. So you literally had I'm all in, I'm all out, I'm in between. Literally, that dynamic. Yeah. And so it took me and Greg, really, really powerful. We're all in. This fire is so strong, to then I don't know, a year goes by, 2 years goes by, and we fall. Like it crashes hard.
Yeah, like we didn't fall out of faith.
No, not faith. It's just like the fire.
Yeah.
You know, like it was just kind of getting smaller. And then we realized at that point that we had a lot of growing to do in our faith and trusting God before we can get out there and proclaim and, do this publicly for people and in front of people. We have to know it for ourselves. And so honestly, up until about last year, we've been working on that. It's taken that long.
And it's like we were super in tune with God, and then we're like, okay, now we got all this stuff. We're going to go do it. And it's not that we intentionally left God behind, but when you look back at our actions, we 100% did.
Yeah,
and we saw the effect of that.
Yeah.
Because then we get back on track to it. Out of nowhere, we meet a producer. Out of nowhere, we're meeting people in the Christian music industry that can help us find routes to get where we want to go and do the things we want to do. So it's like we're children of God, then we're brothers, then we're a band.
Yeah.
And it's like when those things fall out of line, so do we.
It's a big reminder of keeping that focus and keeping what's the heart of what we're doing, the question of not what we're doing, but why are we doing it? And then that being something you can circle back on, and that kind of keeps everything in check. A lot of that, I know your personal lives bleed into the way that you write your songs. I'm sure that will be eye-opening for people, and that reminder of just, hey, get back to why is it that I am alive on this earth? Why is it that I go to my job day to day and all of that? And so I think it's just very, very powerful. And so I think it's cool to hear your perspective. Going into what you guys are working on, I know that you're in the process of working on a complete album. You put your first single out there, Unspoken. And so you got to be able to get into looking at the photos and the video shoots and stuff that you guys did for that, it looks like an incredible space to be able to record. And so talk about some of that recording experience, what you guys have kind of dipped your toes in and what you're excited to kind of get into next.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So actually what you just said about, why am I at my job? Why am I here? God remind me. So I was definitely going through that, and I was actually in the process of trying to leave my job. I'm a barber, and I was trying to leave the shop I was at. And I was questioning God all the time. I'm like, man, why do you have me here? And I'm so ready to get out of here. I'm so ready for the band to take off. I'm so ready to be in the next season. I'm like, God, get me out of here. I'm not happy here. This place is stealing my joy, stressing me out. I don't like it. And through that barber shop, there's this dude that would come in every 3 weeks, get this rad mix of a faux hawk and a mullet. And every time he'd come in, I would get nervous. Every time he walked in, you ever been around someone of that's in a position of authority, like your boss or your girlfriend's dad or something, and they walk in, you just don't look at them. You're like, I'm not yeah. That would always happen. I had no idea who this guy was, but every time he came in, I was like, I don't know who that is, but I'm not in it. I'm not in it. And I was talking to my boss, and I was just venting to him because he's my buddy too. And I was like, hey, we're trying to find we've released this EP. At this point, we've released EP and one single. We released 5 more, 3 less. And I was like, we're looking for better sound. Like we feel like we've maxed out the quality of sound we can make in our bedrooms. And that I didn't realize that guy had walked in. And Jason, my boss, literally goes, talk to that guy. He's a Christian music producer. And that's when it just like clicked. And he was like, dude, I would never. He was like, hey, I'm Travis. And he's the chillest dude in the world. He's Travis Motley from Diamond Productions in Kannapolis, North Carolina. When I tell you, this dude is sick. He's the coolest guy in the world. And he was like, so you got a band? I was like, yeah. And I showed him, I guess you would call our EP like our demos. Yeah. I mean, it's released, so it's published music.
Yeah, it's published music.
But it's like, I just showed him that. I was like, this is what we got. And we're just, you can hear in the EP and Invite More Fear Less what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like we just didn't have the equipment and the tools, the plugins, the instruments, the high quality instruments to get those tones and get that sound. We didn't have the know-how to get all that, And I text the guys and I was like, hey, I know why God has me where he has me now. And he was like, they were like, what do you mean? They were like, why God has you at the barbershop? And I was like, I just met this guy. And I don't know if we were uneasy about it or not. I know it's definitely like we're not sure about this. Like, this is as far as any of us have ever gotten in the music industry before. Meeting an actual real producer.
Like a guy who does
that is his job. It is his studio. He produces music.
Yeah.
That's what he does. So we were like, we don't know what to do here, So we reached out to or tried to reach out to a good friend that's in the Christian music industry. And he got back to us through someone else and was like, yeah, I've heard Travis. He's good.
I just remember the talking we have, and immediately the best way we described it, we walked out of there saying this one guy is like the three of us
combined,
pressed into one person.
Yes.
And I just remember talking about, what kind of our goal is, our music. This is the route. Like we showed him Unspoken on the acoustics, and we were like, we want to do a full band with it. We don't want it to stay acoustic and things like that. And then he'd be like, well, I have this idea. Can we try this?
Everything you hear on Unspoken is us for the most part. But it's like Travis would like sit down and be like, hey, like you can try this. And like, you can try going to the 6 here. You can try doing this. Or he'd be like, Greg, try this on the drums. And we're like, I never thought about that.
He sees music from a different point of view. He doesn't take over anything or try to turn it into his own thing. He very much works on it with you and wants the best for you and pulls the better musician out of you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. So
it's like a coach.
Yeah, it really is like a coach. Like he's like, all right, that was good, but try it this way and do it right this time.
And do it better.
he's like,
do it better.
You didn't suck.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
He's like, don't suck. He's like, don't suck this time.
Yeah.
He's really good. Like
he's awesome.
Talking about being in the studio and all of that experience, right? I'm sure that already, I know you guys are still intending, like you're still going in full force trying to, you started a GoFundMe and everything, which we'll talk more about in just a little bit too, for diving in and really just kind of getting the ball rolling more musically. How has it helped develop you guys as musicians and all of that? I'm sure it's just kind of raised the bar of excellence and been like, all right, we got to get our crap together now and like actually be musicians. That's typically what my brain goes to in a setting like that. So what's that been like for you?
I taught myself pretty much everything I know, like on musically. Pretty sure Jacob did as well.
For the most part. I'd say a solid 85%.
Yeah. And then Greg is like, in between of.
I took lessons.
Yeah. You took lessons on drums.
Yeah, I took drum lessons.
Guitar,
I taught myself.
You taught yourself guitar.
Well, I mean, I can't say I know keys. I taught myself guitar.
But like so much has been brought to light of what we don't know, that working with somebody who does music for a living, he'll say something and just the terminology
you have to know.
Yeah. He's like Nashville numbers. We are just now learning that, and we are learning it through the studio that we go to. Like it's stuff like that.
Yeah, playing on a click. That was
playing on a click. That was hard to adjust to.
Yeah. Keeping tempo. You think you can hold a tempo? Okay, here you go.
Hold it perfectly for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That was hard on me. That's I had never played with clicks before then. Ever.
Yeah.
Not in church, not in bands, nothing.
Yeah, typically it's funny whenever I know for us the church that I get to serve at, it's we run click tracks and everything with all of our worship and stuff. And so it's funny anytime, especially for me, because for whatever reason, I hear it's like a horror story for most drummers of like, it's you jump in and it's like, it's just your brain can't keep with it, especially if you grew up playing in churches and you just played, like you just did it. And for me, it wasn't like that. I just naturally adapted to it pretty well, but it is hilarious whenever you get to see people coming in and it's like, I can't deal with this in my ear the whole time, but it just, like does.
Now it's a comfort blanket now. Like now I like it. I'm like, oh yes. Now I don't have the metronome, but like at the introduction to it, I was like, oh my god,
it was
like,
terrible.
We had to do like 10 takes of just me trying to like get on.
Travis be like, hey man, you're a little bit off the grid, and by the end of it, he'd be like, he'd start off the light like, hey man, you're a little off the grid, we're gonna take it back, and by like the end, like 3 hours later, he'd be like, all right dude, we're gonna start you over, you're off again. Like just be like sections. I don't think like with Unspoken, you hear the song on Spoken. I hear how many times we would have to track an instrument over and over, and like how many times we'd have to sing a vocal back, and like it'd be like 3 words I'd have to sing over and over.
That attests to how much we've grown as musicians, though, because it took 2 full studio sessions to make Unspoken. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guarantee you we could do that in 1 now. I guarantee you we could do that
in
less than 1, from start to finish.
But and the studio days, like the session is an 8-hour session, and actually the last one we had was a 10-hour session in the studio. You're going, like
the
so
whole time. I love it.
It's awesome to visualize that. Hey, maybe one day this could be like our lives. It's awesome.
It makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
I think the first time we did cry, actually.
We got in the car, we were like, this is such a surreal experience.
I totally get that. I know I'll be the promotional like wingman for you guys for stuff like that, because it's hard to be the people that are like, hey, can we help get money for this thing? Because you don't want to ask for money, especially because you guys know, I mean, you're working for it. Like you're working towards it. You guys are like, whatever it takes, we're going to get it done. But we also know what we're doing, that some people are drawn to that and are drawn to, hey, how can we help? And so for people who are out there that may be listening that do know you guys, or maybe don't know you guys, but are checking this out and they're like, I'm in. Like, I love hearing what they're talking about, what they're about, and what their vision and goals are for what they're doing with music. How is it that they can best connect and help resource you guys for what you guys have coming up over the next year and what's to come?
So I'd say it was kind of your idea, your forefront idea.
So to touch on what you said real quick about, not wanting to ask for money. Like, I'm not saying like we're prideful guys. I mean, I really think, especially over the last couple of years, we've been really humbled by how good God is.
Yeah.
But definitely I can definitely say this for myself. And I know a little bit of these guys too. Like, we did not want to ask for money. We're like, it was definitely like a pride issue. I was like, no, like I'm not going to beg for somebody's money. Like, we can do it, whatever. But we were, and we still are, too. Like, I guess we're not anymore. Or not as much. We're paying out of our own pockets every time we go. And it's like, none of us are making killer money out here. I mean, we're not hurting. God's good to us.
God is good.
Do we have an extra 20 grand to throw at a producer? No. And like, it got to the point. I will always be just a glass house with how good God is to me. I mean, the last 2 times we went to the studio, I had to decide what bill I wasn't going to pay.
Right.
Because I know what to probably to, and this is bigger to me. Like, I got it. And both times, God provided the money I needed for the bill somewhere else. And it's like, that's just how good He is. But like, we've already raised, like, what, the GoFundMe has been live for 3 days.
3 days.
We've already raised $1,100.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Dude, it's such a blessing. It's a crazy huge blessing. And it's one of those things, like, people want to help. Yes, obviously you can donate, to dive into it. Because I remember making that video for the GoFundMe, and there was so much I wanted to say. But I was like, if I make like a 10-minute video, no one is going to watch it.
Very true.
Like, I'm huge on like if you feel a pull on your heartstrings, hearing about us, hearing our music, or anything like that, and you think God's telling you, hey, help them out, like I'm telling you to help them out, help us out. If you're not sure, don't.
Pray about it.
Yeah, I mean that. Like, we truly just want what God wants for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what he's got planned. So if he's got planned for, like, someone, we don't know who, it was anonymous, just gave us $500. And I'm assuming because God was like, hey, help them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
An intertwining of God putting people together and how our stories are relating, you know? And it's like, if God's putting that in you, do it. Donate that money to us. If he's not, don't. You can help us by sharing our music. Help us, like I said that in the video, just pray for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like this, like the path we're on, like no one's been able to see it. That's what's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's been 5 years. We've just been in this pressure cooker of spirituality and growing in our faith, growing as musicians, growing as people, growing little people. You know, it's like, like we've done all this, and now it's like we're at the top of this 5 years, and now everybody gets to hear it. And the album we created from 5 years of life experience, you know? Like to everybody that's donated, to everybody that will donate. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
From the bottom of our hearts.
Absolutely.
We're gonna write a song about each one of you.
There you go. they're in the liner notes on the album, like on the CD when you open it up. They're like their names are there.
That'd be awesome. When you do that.
But yeah, that's awesome, and it's cool to see your journey so far, and like for you guys, just I know you guys are definitely on this, like we're just scratching the surface of where you're going to take this, and it's cool to see that. And so from people from where you guys are right now, if you could go back 5 years from now and talk to the younger versions of yourselves, like kicking this thing off, like to the person who's wanting to dive into music and don't know, like, where do I start? What do I do with it? What's some advice that you would give that person, that younger version of yourself, or that person just wanting to dive into it?
That dream you have and the faith that is just hold on to it. I remember at one point, I knew this was my calling for Christ, but there was at one point, it was just me and God who believed in this. My parents have been nothing but supportive. Family's been nothing but supportive, most supportive people ever. But before their lives turned around, it was very much, Jacob, you want to think about something else, maybe, because I was very much, there was no plan B at that time or now. There is no plan B.
Yeah, like 3 years prior to us being saved, Jacob's already saying how us three are going to be in a band together. And I'm laughing at him. I'm like, no.
We're going to sing songs about Jesus. There's no way.
Yeah.
But it was just me and him is the point I'm trying to make. And it got to a point where it was just us. And I would advise, if it is just you and God, whether it's music, whatever your calling is, if it's just you and him, that's it. That's all you need. You don't need everybody to believe in you. When you know it's him, you go after it. But the advice I give to my younger self is keep the faith, man. Like, there's going to be nights you're going to wake up. I get it. You're going to cry, man. A lot's going to get to you. You're going to be bummed out. You're going to be wondering, where's God at? But just keep the faith alive. Don't let it burn out.
I feel like there's very practical advice to invest in in-ears. It will make a world of difference.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of bands do this. I'm not saying don't try to record yourself. That's not what I'm saying. But don't get that. I feel like that's like a bona fide mistake we made, was trying to get so into the recording process, buying VSTs, buying plugins, buying recording equipment. Dalton especially, just trying to like soak in all this producer knowledge. It's like that's money, effort, and time. Well, like we can't get back. And did we make our EP out of it? Yes. Am I grateful and thankful for that EP? Absolutely. Yes. I love it. We made 5 more Fearless out of that.
Memories.
But if you could have done the exact same thing if we would have sit down, write those songs, demo them on your voice memos, shoot them to a producer, shotgun them to producers, see which one you can afford. Because I promise you, whatever they got is going to be better than what you can make having no knowledge of it.
We've had this conversation very, very recently and had to open up to ourselves about it and say, what are we really? Are we doing this like as a band? Like, are we like a worship band, or are we like a performance band? Because whether you want to look at it or not, like, this is music for God. but it also has to sound good, which is why we're not doing it in our bedrooms anymore, because we want it to sound pleasing to people, which is something that we had to like hop over ourselves because we're not holier than thou. Like it's okay to say, hey, we need good sounding music to be heard and to be shared. Somebody's not going to share music that sounds bad.
Yeah.
But then also keeping the message in there that is driving it. Like, actually, we haven't talked about this on the podcast yet. Like our current album, because we've kind of talked about how our sound, like we're not tied to a genre. We have stuff that sounds rocky. We have stuff that could be played in churches. We have stuff that could not be played in churches. It's okay to say what we're doing right now, it could not be played at a worship set on our Sunday, this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
we're going to be touring with the band Camino or somebody, and it's going to be like, hey, we got songs that sound exactly like this, but they have a faith-driven message. Like what? That's like Skillet. They're out there playing Carolina Rebellion, and then what? They're a Christian band, and everybody out in the audience probably doesn't know God or despises God. That's the people we're wanting to reach.
Yeah.
That's dope, dude. So hey, here's what we're gonna do before we close this thing out, right? We're gonna close this out. We're gonna figure out how well you guys just know each other. All right. So we've gotten to know you guys from a band perspective. And we're gonna listen, you were talking about you talked it up really high of how long you've known each other, how well you spent time together. Two of you are blood related, but then now you are all related. We figured out.
Be a marriage.
But so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a guessing game of how well do you know your bandmates. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have one person be the person that I'm gonna ask the question to. Of that's the person trying to figure out. So for example, if I said, all right, it's gonna be Greg's turn this time. I want to know what your favorite, I don't know, smoothie flavor is. You guys are gonna have to get. I don't even know if you like smoothies. That's not one of the questions. But then Dalton and Jacob, you guys would have to guess what that is, and then see if you get it right. Pretty simple concept. Then we'll go through. I've got 6 of them for you. So this is the first one. I got 6 questions for you, and we'll trade up depending on each one. All right. So first one is Greg. You're gonna write down what your favorite candy is.
Easy. I already know it. Before I even write
Favorite candies.
I already know it.
Let me make sure.
I already got it. Locked in.
I have terrible handwriting. Don't come at me.
I got it, bro.
I don't know.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Hit it.
Good.
Sweet tarts, I guess.
Sweethearts?
Swedish fish. Is it Swedish fish? It's gotta be Swedish fish.
All right, Greg, you want to reveal it to him?
Kit Kat.
I love Kit Kats.
You ain't chocolate.
I've eaten 3 here
Swedish
during
fish.
this.
So next one, your favorite Bible verse. You can write it down, and you can even use a hint if you need to for him.
Okay. All right.
Daggone.
You can't look over there.
Such a mixture of pieces.
Nay.
I don't even know you. I don't even know you. I feel like if I get it right now, then it's gonna blow chunks. It's gonna look like cheap.
Do y'all have any sort of guesses, either of you?
I know, and I'm looking at you. I'm not looking over there.
Is it the
I know what book it's in, for sure.
okay? So do you guys the category?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
John.
I was gonna say Ephesians.
It's in John.
Yes.
I can't. I'm
3:16. Nationwide.
It was John 15:18.
All right, fellas, y'all are gonna have to guess Jacob's favorite TV show.
I already got it.
That's not even fair.
Got it.
I don't even gotta write it down. Yeah.
Right. Count of 3.
No, I gotta write it down
Let him write.
first.
Seinfeld.
It'd be something if we're actually both wrong. But 3, 2, 1. Friends.
Yeah. Now, you guys are guessing Greg's favorite band or artist, whatever, however you want to say it.
Oh, that's so hard. He listens to such diverse.
I know. I got a solid answer though. I got it, and I'll explain it.
I got a good guess. I got a solid guess.
I mean, I do too.
There's so many artists.
Yeah, there really is.
I do be liking art.
Yeah.
You gonna count?
I'll count you down. You got 3, 2, 1.
Panic at the Disco.
I'm gonna say Hardy.
Hardy. Oh, that's a good answer.
God, it's not Hardy.
Oh man, I do like Hardy. That's my vibe. Okay. You want me to turn it around?
Yeah, turn it around.
Is it?
I have my reasons.
Is it Phil?
Is that Phil Wickham?
Yeah,
Oh, why didn't we say that?
I don't know. I don't know.
All of our
band.
All of our three
That's
favorite
our-
dudes.
That's
5 seconds of
Each
summer.
album.
Dalton's up
Sounds
next.
like-
You guys are guessing what Dalton's favorite movie is.
Might have to think about this one.
our band's gonna fall apart live on this podcast.
Thanks for breaking the band, Noah. So this one's gonna be like
Old Yeller.
this one's gonna be like two answers, and I'll accept either one because
That
I
works.
really don't have an answer to this. And honestly, this totally could change depending on what day it is. So
I'm with it.
it could be none of these two. But when I think about my favorite movie right now, that's probably what it comes to. It's just
My favorite movie is
choice.
Moana.
Okay, I have two guesses.
Grandma's a stingray.
Fast and Furious 4, but not 5 and 6.
Fast 10, your seatbelts.
They didn't do it. They called it Fast X. The marketing was right there. Fast 10, your seatbelts, and they didn't do it. It was right there. Right there.
So I don't know if you can read that or decipher what that says. Because okay,
3, 2, 1.
Star Wars.
Oh! I didn't even think of that. Oh my gosh.
He's been on a hard Star Wars vibe recently. You can't say you haven't.
I'm gonna say for only one reason, Super Mario Brothers, just because he just watched that movie.
I do want to say I think honestly, and it could just be because I've kind of
Should've guessed Star
forgot. But like honestly, the Star Wars franchise is actually
That is probably your
that
favorite
I
movie.
think that might actually be. But these other two, I'll also take for extra credit, which nobody got the extra credit. So I'm honestly gonna give it to Greg because I'm sorry. I guess I wasn't thinking.
You can say Greg knows you better than you know you.
Yes, he does. But the two movies that I wrote down were
Which one on Moana?
Lone Survivor and 300.
I've never seen either of those.
You
And
ever think 300?
you honestly
I agree.
did. You actually, I'm not just saying that. Like, really, Star Wars was
I'm winning.
actually,
I forgot
I have 2
about
points.
Stuart. He literally said it, and I'm like, yep, that's it. That's the answer.
yeah.
Here's what we're guessing, fellas. You're guessing Jacob's favorite fast food franchise.
I know 2, and they're actually as in common as they can be. They're basically the same thing, and no one wants to accept.
Wait, do I need to write down an extra credit answer?
Yes. At least 2 extra credits because I know you got them.
That's not even fair. That's just giving him my.
Because I know you got them as a line.
You got him as a line.
I know you got them.
If I get all 3 of these right,
3, 2,
I
1.
got the board.
Zaxby's.
That's our hard answer.
That's our hard answer. That's our
Look at the
top.
word. You gotta go to the word.
Wait, no, we can't.
No, we got
Yeah,
Look
wait.
at the word.
You want to give your extra credit first?
Okay, so
There's 2 extra credits.
Zaxby's,
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A,
Yep.
Burger King.
Okay, so Chick-fil-A is my second.
Yeah, which are the same thing. Zaxby's and Chick-fil-A are the same thing.
They're really not.
Hold on.
Talk to the hand.
Cookout is my third.
It's not Cookout.
He goes Cookout a lot.
I'm Cookout people. He's not Cookout people.
Honorable mention, Papa John's.
Papa
Papa John's.
I want to redact Burger King and put Papa.
Do I flip it?
Yep.
Flip it?
Papa John. Zaxby's Steak and Shake.
Steak and shake.
Their
All right.
fries are like hair. Their fries are alive.
They're
They got
so-
lighter fries.
They're so nice and thin and crisp.
All right, I at least got 2 out of 3.
But man, I just want to say, like, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me, dude. I'm grateful to be able to chat with you guys, like, get to hang out with you for a little bit, and man, it's been a blast. So, just for anybody watching that wants to connect with you guys a little bit more, what's the best ways through social or anything like that? The best ways that people can stay connected and support you.
Pretty active on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is definitely the top. We're always on there. We got a TikTok. We don't do as much with it. I always check us out on Spotify and
Anywhere.
Apple Music, Amazon. We're on all of it. Check out our YouTube channel. We have a couple of videos that are on YouTube that aren't anywhere else. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, once again, thank you guys for jumping on, and look forward to kind of seeing what you guys got coming out soon. So,
Can we cordially invite you to dinner so we can like meet talk to you face to face.
Oh, dude.
Because you've been on our hearts a lot recently. Like I'll just leave
That is very
I'll
weird.
leave this at the end. Like you've been on our hearts so much. So like where we've had full band conversations about you.
We texted about it months ago.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
But like just the detail and like this is publicly like you've been on our hearts and minds, buddy.
I
So
appreciate that. We'll all go to Zaxby's together and we'll just kick it.
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
now, all right. Put it in writing. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and thank you everybody who's tuned in, everybody who's watching, wherever you're watching from or listening from. Thank you so much, and be sure to stay connected with the Writer's Block, everything with Creative Corner Co. Stay connected with us on social, through our website, YouTube, all that good stuff. And man, we look forward to talking to you again soon.